Notifies to external and employee users. What I'm going to do here is directly show you how it's configured. So I'm going to go to processes. I'm going to search one of my processes. I'm going to make a slight modification. I'll click here on this notifier system task. Okay. Well, I'm going to delete it so I can configure it from scratch. So I'll select here notifier, the type. The next thing I have to do is indicate what type I want. For example, notify employee users. We said this is going to allow us to notify someone in their portal. So when I go to my tasks, I'm going to have a notification. We'll see it's a bit different than a task, of course. We could also notify external users. Let's just use this first option now. I'll hit the button continue and I'll indicate here who has to receive this notification. If I mark general, it's going to allow me to select one or several addressees. Okay, it could be the star message creator field in the panel with a prefix of an employee. It could be a role. Okay, so there's lots of options. Let's say it's a role, and in this role, maybe there's 10 or 50 different employees, so they'd all receive it, okay? And then here we've got another option, it's called group of fields. If I mark this option here, it's going to give us different options because here we can actually select a group of fields and a container. So once we've selected the column of that group of fields, all the employees that are in that column are going to receive a notification. So let's say I have a group of fields with 50 rows or 50 lines of information. Well, then maybe 50 different people would receive the notification. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to say I want general, and I'm going to send a notification to the star message creator. Who's the star message creator? Whoever launched this process, whoever triggered it. I'll save and exit. And the next thing I want to do is indicate the content. I could select panel, so I could maybe select maybe a panel field that I have with a maybe a rich multiple line text field where I have some information, and this is the information I want to send. Or I could just say text and edit this directly and, I don't know, indicate whatever I want here. For example, this is a test. I could format this, I could add images. We can make this really fancy, but for now we're just going to keep it simple, okay? This is all we're going to do. Okay, so we have our content set up in our notifier. Here I'm going to indicate who's the sender. There's different options. I'm going to say the sender's the system. We could also select an employee. Okay, so whoever would receive it would know that the sender is a certain employee or panel, so this could be dynamic. Okay. And then down here I can attach documents. I could say yes, I want to attach a document. I could click here and add different fields from the panel. They're always going to be library fields. Now what's going to happen if I do so? Any document that's been uploaded to that library field is going to be attached to this notification. And the same thing happens with the comment logs. I can mark yes, and then any comment log that was added to this notification would be attached to the notification. Here I don't have any, well, I have a comment log, so I'll attach it, but I'm not really going to have any comments when I receive it. But anyways, let's just leave it on yes. Let's leave it documents on no. And here I can indicate the amount of time in which this notification is going to be active in my task inbox. So I could say maybe 1 day. And once I've got this done, I'm ready to go. All I have to do is save and exit. And now I could actually test my process. So I'm going to my tasks. And here I'm going to start the process. I've got it here. Basically, we set up the process so the start message creator would receive the notification. So I'm going to click here on start process. And now here we can see the notification we received. So I'll just click on it, I'll open it, and obviously all we have is this is a test. Okay, this is the only bit of information that we added to this system task. So we can see in our task inbox, we're receiving some information. It's not editable information, it's just visible information that we can see in our inbox. In order to finish this notification, I could click here But let's say I have a lot of notifications. Maybe I was off for vacations and maybe they've been notifying me of different things and I've got a lot and maybe I don't need to read them all. So I could click here on delete notifications and this would allow me to delete all the notifications. Obviously, since this is a bit delicate, it gives me several warnings telling me, okay, are you sure? Yes, okay, well then they're all deleted. The next thing I want to show you is the differences that we have here when we want to notify via, well, we want to notify via portal to employee users or to external users. So the main difference is going to be in the addressees, the type of options or the different options that are going to appear here. For example, if it's an employee, it's going to allow you to create groups of employees, job titles, different members of the company. If we select external users, it's going to maybe allow us to select profiles of accounts, profiles of contacts. So this is, let's say this is one of the main differences. We'll get into that later, but basically this is one of the main differences. Then another difference that we have is down here. When we edit the content here, obviously as we mentioned, we can add a lot of format, images, and so on. And we can even add panel information. This is very similar to designing a base document. So when we create a document, we know we can add bits of information from our process. So this is also added to the notification. And we could also add an option here. It's called execution control. Basically, what's going to happen here, there's going to be a link. So we can say, if you want more information related to this process, please click on this link. And it allows you to access the or monitor this process. Obviously, this option is not going to be available for external users because they know absolutely anything about monitoring, but it is a cool feature. Maybe if you're sending a notification to an administrator or you're sending this notifications to someone who has a high profile of knowledge about processes and applications. Okay, and now I know most of you might be thinking, okay, what's the difference between sending someone a notification or just sending them a task where we have everything in visible mode, so we can't really edit anything. So let's imagine this scenario where we send someone a task and they really can't edit anything. So we can already add a lot of information in this task. We can add panel fields and we can just mark everything so it's just visible, not editable. Okay, so then that would be practically the same as sending someone a notification. But we've got several differences. For example, when the flow goes through a notification, what it's going to do is going to send you the data or the information that it captured in that exact moment. Okay, so let's say the flow goes through a notification, it captures the information and it sends it. It delivers this information to you. This information, when you're seeing it, you're not seeing real-time information. You're seeing the information that was captured at some point of the process. Let's say the information was captured on Monday, now we're on Friday, and the the information in the panel of the process is totally different. But it doesn't matter. In your notification, you still have the exact same information of the moment in which this notification was delivered to you. In a task, this would be different because if we add a task or we send someone a task and we're showing them panel fields, if the data in these panel fields change from Monday to Friday, when I open my task on Friday, what am I going to see? I'm going to see the information that's in my process on Friday. I'm going to have no idea of what was in the process panel on Monday. Okay, this is one important difference. Obviously, this isn't such a great difference. Maybe in lots of different scenarios, we don't really care about this, but there's another very, very important difference. And it's that the flow, when it goes through the system task, it's going to deliver the information and the flow is going to continue. It's not going to stop. But when the flow goes to a personal task, the flow is going to stop. So we also have to take this into account. Even though we could send someone personal task with all the information and you can only read it, you can only see it, but you cannot edit it, it still wouldn't be the same as a notifier system task because when we diagram the flow of the process, we have to take into account that in one case, the flow is going to go directly through it. It's probably going to take a split second, maybe much less than a second. And a task is not going to do that. A task is going to actually stop the flow. And from Monday, since I received my task, until Friday, when I open it and finish it, the flow is not really going to continue. And in a system task, it wouldn't be like that. The flow just goes right directly through it and it leaves that message in my inbox. And then there's another difference. For example, when I go to my tasks, I've got certain features, for example, like deleting all my notifications. This is something you could not do with tasks. You cannot delete all your tasks. If you right click, for example, on a task, you could actually hide a task, or maybe in some cases you could finish it depending on the configuration of that task. But as we can see, it works in a different way. You can delete all your notifications, you cannot delete all of your tasks. So that's another difference that we want to take into account.